Welcome to the Agility in Real Life podcast, Take 5 in Real Life. Now your hosts, Mike Studeman, Jeff Lee, and Pat Campbell.
Hi, and welcome back to the Take 5 IRL podcast. I'm Jeff Lee, one of your hosts and a partner at Agility IRL.
Hi, Jeff, and I'm Pat Campbell, another partner at Agility IRL, and today's co-host as well.
All right, so Pat, we've been talking about assessments. Last time we talked about the importance of understanding your unique challenges. Every company is unique. And talk about, today we want to get a little bit deeper into, how we go about doing those kinds of assessments and how it leads to tailored solutions specific to clients. So how do you go about doing that, Pat? Getting something that's, understanding a company's, whole system, as a consultant coming in, without a lot of background information.
Well, that's a fun question. I would have said that's a great question, but that gets old after a while. But this is a fun question.
I'm glad to keep you having fun here, Pat.
So in the past, the vast majority of these assessments have been done at the team level. However, as they like to say with Les, it's also a systems thing as well. And you need to look at it as a system, not just what's happening at the team level, because sometimes you have teams of teams working on the same product, right?
Yep.
Now, those teams of teams working on the product work within an organization, which means there are other aspects that are influencing or impacting how they work. And so when we do an assessment, we look at it from three levels. We look at it at the team level, at the team of teams level, or what we call the system level, and at the organization level. And
yeah, that's
that allows
interesting.
us, to get a full view.
Yeah, I think we've actually had a couple of clients lately who have told us that the people at the team level are getting survey fatigue, right? They're getting surveyed a lot, which is great, right? Because companies care about what people think. They're trying to get feedback on what people think. They're receiving the feedback, and what we hear from the people at the team level is nothing changes. So we're bringing in those additional levels, right, to really see how these work together.
Yep. Yeah. And on top of that, a lot of times those surveys are held, once and done without any further input from the team members. Whereas when we do our assessments, we are actually sitting down with them to make sure they all align on and agree upon what the answer should be as a team. And so there's follow-up there. And we reassess later to understand if the change has actually had impact. And if not, what are the action items to make that change happen?
Yeah,
And
you
so
mentioned
they
that
see a visible tracking of it.
Yeah, you mentioned that we're align people on answers at a team level. We also spend a good amount of time aligning them on the questions at a team level, right? Like these questions that seem like they're really straightforward. We have some kind of detailed criteria for how you can answer the question, but still people interpret them differently. It's amazing when we get people into the room to try to get consistency at a team level. They didn't understand the question the same way.
Absolutely. I think that differentiates us a bit in our approach for just that reason. And they also are able to we are also able to capture in addition to an agreed upon answer, what are some of the aspects what are some of the root causes connected with that? So yeah, I think that really drives interaction and removes some of that survey fatigue we've been seeing out there.
Yeah, so we go through, we've done this survey, we get people together, we balance out answers at team levels, at system level, at organizational level. We still haven't answered the question, how do we get this to a tailored solution? Do we just come back in 6 months and see if the answer changed?
No, as you can guess, we do a little more than that, Jeff. Because because we start by working with a leadership team to say what are your priorities in terms of business outcomes, and you only get 2 or 3 at the most. Where do you then try to have an impact? Because those business priorities determine where you need to focus on from an agile outcomes, capabilities, and practices perspective, because there is a linkage between those. And that allows us to narrow the initial transformation effort, the initial transformation focus, which is good for the customer because they still have a business to run. And so they have to balance what we're doing in the transformation with running the business. And so narrowing that focus based on those business outcomes is received pretty positively by our clients.
Absolutely. We had a client here in the last couple of years. I'm not going to name names, but one of the things they wanted to get better on, one of their business outcomes was speed to market, getting things out more quickly. And they were really focused on, hey, if we can write better user stories, we'll have less interruptions and we'll get things out faster. Meanwhile, they had this arduous manual testing process that they had to do to get anything out the door, right? Their business outcomes and what they were working on, their agile practices, they didn't match. Right. They really needed to work on getting more automation in their testing process because that was going to be the biggest bang for the buck.
Yep. Yeah. And then once you've done that, then you can establish a baseline to track progress from, so that you know if you're making progress or not. And so that would have had, I suspect, quite an impact on a difference in that result compared to the baseline.
Yeah. Absolutely. So how often would you recommend companies come back and, so we create a baseline, do the survey, complete the assessment, figure out how we align to business outcomes, start measuring a baseline, and then we're working toward improving that. When should we come back and do another assessment?
Well, every company's different. Again, depending on how much survey fatigue they're seeing from other surveys in the organization, because this isn't the only one going on. So at probably at most quarterly or even semi-annually probably makes sense. And it really is up to the client's specific situation. They obviously would want to make that call, but quarterly to semi-annually seems to be pretty popular as an approach.
Going back to the conversation of our last podcast where we talk about every company being unique.
Every company's unique. That's right.
All right. Any parting thoughts before we close this episode, Pat?
Well, for those who might wonder, this tool, when we're done using it, we are actually in a position then to transfer management of that data and that tool to our clients as well. As per everything we like to advertise about ourselves, we're trying to enable you to continue on your own, managing your agile transformation. So this is just another way we try to do that.
Absolutely. Yeah, good call out. All right. Thanks everybody for joining us.
Have a great week or weekend wherever you are.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of the Take5IRL podcast. If you like it, please go ahead and share it with someone, as well as like and subscribe on your favorite podcast platform. We are available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. Also leave us a comment or a suggestion for a future episode. Again, thanks for listening, and we look forward to you joining us next time on the Take5IRL podcast.